everyone. Happy Father's Day and welcome to Rosen Sports Sunday. Phil Mickelson would have loved to have scripted his Father's Day with a happier ending. The setting was right. It was his 43rd birthday. He had the third round lead. Then on the 10th hole, one of those magical moments you thought you would propel Mickelson to his first U.S. Open title. An eagle from the rough, and given how tough this course was playing and the gallery roaring its support of his every shot, this was going to be Phil's tournament to win, or in this case, lose. It wasn't as if any of the leaders were going to make a charge in the final holes. This was pure and simple about keeping the ball in the fairway and surviving. Ultimately, Phil Mickelson did not. You may recognize our first guest from the number of golf tips she offered up during the long, endless winter we've had. Cheryl Mays, the teaching pro at Crystal Lake Golf Course in Lakeville, joins us in studio. Thanks for coming in tonight, Cheryl.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, how long have you been at Crystal Lake, by the way?
This is my 7th season teaching out at Crystal Lake.
Finally getting some weather to get more people out there, I assume, as well.
Oh, my goodness. I came up at the right time.
You did.
Yes.
Hey, listen, we're going to get into one of your lessons in just a minute, but first, your impressions of today's final round and the U.S. Open in general at Marion. You had a lot of golfers up this weekend.
Oh, my goodness. Well, if it was a competition between Marion and the players, Marion won. Nobody shot par, and nobody even broke par.
Did you expect that, though? Because most U.S. Open golf courses are set up to be the toughest challenge of them all, with the rough and being what it is. But this seemed to be, even though it was a shorter U.S. Open golf course, more of a challenge than ever before.
Absolutely. I think everybody was really deceived into thinking because of the length that usually at the Opens you want to have a long ball hitter. You want somebody strong because the rough is going to be tough. Fairways were narrow and the greens were tough.
You know, strong words. I read this in the paper this morning from former Masters champ Zach Johnson, who did not make the cut. He said, quote, "I would describe the whole golf course as manipulated," adding, "It just enhances my disdain for the USGA." Bitter, or is there a shred of truth in that? Because this is a guy, I think there are 12 former champions who did not make the cut this weekend.
Yeah, looking at the list of people who didn't make the cut, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that there's some truth in that. The USGA really wants to make it a great test, so you are going to be put to the test.
Well, speaking of tests, Steve Stricker started the day just one shot behind the leader, Mickelson, and what happened to him on this shot on the second hole, I don't think it had anything to do with the course. A lot of us can relate to this shot. I don't think I've seen a pro like this shank a ball like he did here. He finished with a triple bogey 8.
It was heartbreaking to watch. I think his first shot he actually hit out of bounds, so this was his second, and this hole just kept getting worse the longer it went on. And when they had the laser track on there and it went out, it was just heartbreathrougking to watch.
It was Luke Donald. He was too bad. He had to take his shoe off, and he hit a fan in the stands as well. And man, it was just rough. Rory McIlroy, what was he doing? He was beyond frustrated here.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I think that sums up how I think a lot of the players were feeling out there.
Mickelson survived early trouble, then the shot of the day here on 10, his eagle chip, solo lead. This had to be his day, you're thinking, at this point.
Oh, I did. I really thought this was a turnaround. I mean, and mentally, emotionally, that was the boost he needed, because I know he had missed some putts early on. Justin Rose had never won a major. He did keep his poise through some tough holes. Stay out of trouble. That's what you have to do. Absolutely. He kept making pars, and the putter was working for him. Yeah, I think the par, that's all he had to do. Nice touch there in the second hole. Tapped in for par. He knew the tournament was his. Only 11 birdies all week long. And this is what he did so well. Look at that approach shot here. He played 18 beautifully, and that was the famous. He went off the green. Yeah, look at that. He had 2 great shots, and still, I mean, he made a par on 18. That was Hogan's famous. And he gave tribute to his dad, I think, who passed away, what, 10 years ago, huh? Yes, he did. He did, right there. Well, Mickelson knew we had to knock this in to force a playoff. Again, 11 birdies, I think, the entire tournament on the 18th hole. Absolutely, and there were no birdies today, and there were no birdies yesterday on 18. Yeah. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods had an early triple bogey. He finished with a 74 as we look at Justin Rose hold up the trophy. 5 years since Tiger won his last major. He's won a lot of other tournaments, but I guess the question remains when and if will he win another major. It's not like he's running out of time, but it's been a long stretch for him here. We just keep watching. I know. Yeah, you think actually with the start he had this year winning, I thought it was going to be his year, and it's just the last 2, it's been a struggle. Well, as we all know, we've had lots of rain. Well, we had lots of rain all weekend in Marion. We've had nothing but rain and lousy weather pretty much all spring here in Minnesota. We've seen Cheryl offer up numerous tips to help your game along in the wintertime, and she did that again this past week with our David McCoy.
Okay, Cheryl, so I'm kind of a novice golfer. I'm playing in a couple of scramble tournaments this summer. I don't play a ton of golf, so my theory is when I get up there, it's my turn. We got 4 chances at this thing. I want to just kind of grip and rip, right? Just any chance they're going to use any of my shots, I might as well just swing as hard as I can, right?
David, that was a really good swing. I'm really impressed, actually. Good growl, too. That was very impressive. That will have some intimidation factor there.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, I loved it. So one thing I would say, and this is pretty typical of anybody playing in a scramble, when they get up on the tee, they're trying to just swing out of their shoes. They're trying to swing for the fences. I want to give you permission to swing as hard as you can, but here's the catch. You can only swing as hard as you can and still hold and maintain a good balanced finish position, okay? If you start swinging too hard and too fast, you're going to get out of sequence, you're going to get all out of balance, okay? So that, and actually a good tip for you, take a practice swing with your eyes closed, okay? Swing as hard as you possibly can, but still hold your finish. You're going to find you're going to have to tone it down a little bit.
All right, so my second question is this. I'm a shorter golfer. I'm about 5'6". Take a guy, for example, like Charles Schwartzel. How does a guy like that win the Masters when he's competing against these much taller guys like Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, or in my case, Mark Rosen, who's more than a foot taller than I am? How do I compete with those kind of guys?
Beautiful.
Nice.
They say that you drive for show, but you putt for dough. So I would say, really, if you have some time, hone in on your short game. So David, we talked about how your short game is going to be a key role in you being able to stand toe-to-toe with the big guys, okay? So over here, when we get around the green, everyone wants to pull out their sand wedge, and that is really not your high percentage shot. If you can, the shot you're kind of more looking for is if you can ever do that 8-iron kind of bump and run shot. When you have a lot of green to work with, that's going to be your go-to shot. I'm going to open your stance up just a little bit. So you're going to tone your toes a little bit towards the target. There you go, good. Ball position is going to be a little back in your stance. Okay. Perfect. One other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put your hands down a little lower on the club. Perfect. That allows you to get a little closer to it. You said you're a hockey guy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get you a little closer instead of way out there. And now your weight, you're going to bump your weight a little bit to your left side, just a little bit. And what I want you to do is you're going to feel like you just bump it in your hip. I don't need you to get like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. There you go. Perfect. Super. So when you set up, excellent. Really good. And then your arms form a nice little Y. We're not going to get wristy with this. We're just going to have a nice smooth motion. It's almost like a big motion that you would do with your putter. Oh, that should be good. Excellent.
David did a great job. I've taken my share of lessons. Sometimes it gets so complex I can't remember what 13 things I'm supposed to remember as I'm going in my backswing. Do you try to keep it simple to give them just people reminders, subtle reminders to how to improve
Absolutely.
your game?
Well, 14 things is how many you have to remember. But no, no, I try to keep it really simple, and I try to come up with an analogy. So if you play another sport, like you played hockey, you play right into it. You make it familiar.
And here's the thing, Cheryl. So many parents maybe want to get their kids who play golf, want to get their kids involved. And it's not an easy sport to be patient with. No. What's your advice? How do you handle kids who might think, I hit a couple golf balls, it's not working out for me real well. I'm going to try something else. How do you keep them interested in the game?
You have to make it fun. For example, hitting into a swimming pool makes it a great thing. That's a challenge. You know what? I have my swimming pool out at Crystal Lake. I put it out there, and the adults want to hit into the swimming pool. You have to make it fun. You have to put it in small doses. Yeah. And I always say the kids dictate when you're done. And you know what? Going to the golf course, if it's about going and getting a hot dog and a pop, that's great. Right. You know, make it fun.
The folks could find you at Crystal Lake. You didn't start playing until you were like 14, you pitched it.
Yeah, I wasn't 14. I was 14 years old when I started. My family moved from Chicago to Florida. Right. That's when I got my start.
Well, we appreciate all the tips you've given us and many more to come. We never have enough.
Awesome. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in tonight, Cheryl.
Absolutely.
Still to come on Rosen Sports Sunday, Torrey Hunter had a lot of memorable moments during his career here in Minnesota, and he had another one today. He talks with our David McCoy about hitting home run number 300 at Target Field of all places. But first, the one and only Lavelle E. Neal, the Twins beat writer for the Star Tribune, joined us live in studio to take your questions. Oh boy, stay with us. And welcome back to Rosen Sports Sunday. We welcome Star Tribune beat writer Lavelle E. Neal, who covers the Twins, of course, into our studio again. Now, in the old days, you guys were known as ink-stain wretches, as much as we were referred to as talking heads. So times are changing. Forget the tape recorder and notepads. Welcome to 2013, and here's the new technology Lavelle showed up with to interview Ron Gardenhire before last night's game at Target Field. Take a listen.
Talent.
Well, what disappoints me about this is normally a president would have somebody holding that for him.
I know. I know. This sucks.
And if you're going to be the president, you shouldn't have to hold it yourself.
This is just a practice run, actually. It won't go on the website.
Do you need somebody to stand and hold it up higher?
No.
That's as high as you can hold it.
No, I can hold it up here if I want to.
You can.
I think that's why they gave it to me, because I was getting out. I was getting sprouted out, and I was like trying to.
Did you try that out at a bar or something?
No, I just got this yesterday.
Because I saw you dancing. Was that on that?
No, it wasn't on this.
I do have a dance video.
Oh, we all do of Lavelle. Look, I never thought I'd see the day where newspaper beat writers would be carrying little video cameras and using them as much as you do, Lavelle. But the website is very important to the future of the newspaper business, and it certainly has had an impact on your career here. Right?
Yes, you know, our online initiative at the Star Tribune is a pretty massive one, and we're trying to get as many hits as possible. And, you know, a lot of us have these, we're equipped with these phones. This is just an iPhone, and it's just a little stand, because I guess my hand was shaking when I was shooting video, you know, early, so they forced me to put it in this little stand here with the microphone. So, you know, the videos that accompany the stories that you click on and read on StarTribune.com.
You get pretty good at this now?
You get added content. You got to be multimedia savvy here.
This is the way it works these days. Stay relevant, right?
I didn't believe Gardy was going to make such a big deal out of it.
Well, it's Gardy. You know, he's going to have fun with you. Look, this just in, the Tigers are pretty good. They won 2 out of 3. Justin Verlander sat this series out. How in the world is this Tiger team going to ever go into a prolonged slump with that starting pitching staff they have?
I know, because you go Verlander into Scherzer, then you go into Anibal Sanchez and Porcello, and then today's guy,
Pfister.
Doug Pfister went 5 innings with no hit ball. It's really tough. The one issue they have is the bullpen is kind of shaky. I don't think they have much confidence in Jose Valverde.
No, it's pretty obvious.
Look for the Tigers to make a move for a closer at the trade deadline. Maybe Philadelphia's Jonathan Papelbon.
Interesting. Back in the American League. Pfister would far and away be the ace of this Twin staff. He was, as Lavelle mentioned, really good today, flirting with a no-hitter through 5 innings this afternoon. Torrey Hunter's big moment, saw it earlier, 2-run home run, 300th of his career. Hit his first against Detroit as a member of the Twins. What a day for that to happen.
Also hit number 299 against the Twins back at Comerica Park earlier this year off Mike Pelfrey. So he said he had been in a slump here because he's trying to hit that 300 home run, gotten all sorts of bad habits, and he was glad to get the monkey off his back. That was his quote.
This is what Doug Pfister does so well. He gets a lot of ground ball outs. 3 straight in the first inning. More to come. Chris Parmelee struck out here.
I love the curveball.
Yeah, he's really got a nice knack and nice delivery.
Yep. He does. He's a really savvy pitcher. He would be a number 3, maybe a number 2 on some rotations, but with the Tigers, he's number 5.
Well, Brian Dozier, solo home run, the 6th. First hit of the day for the Twins, and this offense has struggled other than last night.
Mark, it's bad. I mean, over the last 12 games, they're averaging 2.6 runs a game.
Jeez.
They've only scored more than 4 runs once over that 12-game span. And this is during a time where the starting rotations actually kind of gelled a little bit. Except for today, they've had a good run of starts. But it's been the offense now.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned the Twins had their moments to shine in this series. Just last night, had a nice 6-3 comeback win over Detroit. Sam Duduno's been pretty effective. 3-1 record, an ERA of 3.26 since coming back from an injury. So where does he fit into their future plans? You look at this guy.
Well, he's going to walk one batter, which is massive for him. You know, he's going to stay in that rotation. It looks like Duduno's gotten comfortable. I think he's got a lot of confidence from feeding off the World Baseball Classic performance he had, and now he's spotting his fastball better now. You know, before he'd have to throw his curveball to get a strike. If he fell behind 2-0, he has enough trust in the curveball to throw it for a strike to get a strike. But now he's starting to spot his fastball a little bit, and now it's like Duduno's coming around as a pitcher here.
Well, he gave him 7 solid innings, allowing just instead of the 7 hits and only 2 runs against that lineup. You'll take that anytime, any single time.
I don't think they're comfortable against him still. He plunked one of the batters during the game, and his next at bat, the guy was like swinging at everything just to get the bat over with. I still think there's a little bit of unpredictability with Sam that other teams worry about.
Another guy who was back last night, Trevor Plouffe, back in the lineup after a 4-game rehab appearance in AAA, coming back from that strained calf muscle. He just turned 27 yesterday. Again, one of those guys the Twins really need to produce on a consistent basis. You really want to get the most out of a Trevor Plouffe. Again, a system guy.
Well, I'm writing about Trevor actually for Tuesday's paper. It's an off-day story about where he's at right now in his development, because the thing is that there's some options emerging now. Miguel Sano's at AA, so that means he's not far away from the majors. And actually, Davison Romero, who had a late start to the season because of visa problems, is playing halfway decently at Rochester. There's options the Twins could look at here if they don't see some consistent offense from Plouffe here and defense.
Well, exactly. But, you know, really it starts at the top. Their leadoff position has been, in general, a disaster. You can't settle on one guy. Hicks wasn't doing well. They dropped him in the lineup. He got hurt now. Clink Thomas was that guy last night. He had 3 hits.
I mean, he's leading off by default, man.
Yeah, that's just it.
It's a pothole. They start the game with a pothole at the top of the order. Hicks was supposed to be the guy taking the at-bats, but he went haywire, and he needed to be dropped down to the bottom of the order. There's no option here unless they find some retread to start. I don't think they're going to do that now. You know, Darren Mastriani will be healthy in about a month.
Yeah.
And he'll probably join the team, and he'll be another option. But it's going to be like that this year. But once again, this was a developmental year anyway. You had too many guys that you needed to develop to think that they really had a chance to do some damage in the division, especially with the Detroit Tigers sitting at the top.
Well, let's say we have plenty of questions to answer from our friends on Twitter. We'll stay away from when are the Twins going to bring up Byron Buxton? I know that's a Paul Allen question you guys got into last week.
Yeah, PA.
Let's get right into it. Nate Lindquist, Kyle Gibson, and when. That says it all. Up and down, but come on. Isn't it about time we're going to see this guy up
Well,
here?
you know, I have two opinions on that, actually. One, you know, Gibson has to prove that he deserves to go into rotation. The problem is that right now the starting rotation for the Twins has been halfway decent. Even Mike Pelfrey's pitching better.
Walters,
so who would he replace? But on the other hand, he's on a finite amount of innings because this is his first year back from Tommy John. How many bullets do you want to waste at Rochester before you get a chance of seeing him up here, what he can do? Because if he doesn't pitch this year and he's in the rotation next year, he'll be a 27-year-old rookie.
That's not what you want.
So do you want to give him a little bit of a baptism this year?
I think you have to. We sort of got into this briefly. You did, Lavelle. If we keep, here's a question from Jason Frank, if they keep Plouffe in 2 years, can he play somewhere else other than third base if he continues to develop, and the anticipation that Sano will be their everyday third baseman?
Well, Trevor Plouffe has played all over the field for the Twins. He's played short, he's played second, he's played third, he's played the outfield. So if the Twins want to keep his bat somewhere in that lineup, I think that they would find a spot for him. But you'd have to earn it. The only problem is that, you know, you have Hicks who's on the rise, you have Oswaldo Arcia on the rise too. That's 2 of the 3 outfield spots. Where would Plouffe be, the right fielder? Would it be Parmalee or what? So that's why it's important for Plouffe to get hot right now.
Stay hot.
To solidify himself for the future.
Meanwhile, Nick Johnson wants to know what's up with Willingham this year. He got hurt to get a little cortisone shot today. And again, Justin Morneau's power as well. I mean, we're going to hear Morneau's name pop up with the trade bait coming up, with the trade deadline coming up.
Well, at least Morneau's hitting for a decent average and driving in some runs. Willingham does have 10 home runs. Both hitters have missed a lot of pitches. They have just missed hitting the ball out of the park several times. Fortunately, Morneau was a good hitter in the minors, so he has that foundation. So I think if he just relies on that, he could still be functional at the plate, and maybe the home runs will come. I think he's so wound up about hitting home runs. Sometimes the best way to hit home runs is not try to hit home runs. You know, Willingham has missed a lot of pitches, and he's a career 260 hitter. I don't know if he can get to 240 by the end of the year. I think you just hope that, one, the knee issue doesn't hold him back, and two, he can still hit 20 to 25 home runs before the season's over.
Well, here's the good news. The Twins not only off tomorrow, but the last place stumbling White Sox coming to town on Tuesday night as well, so they got their own issues. Thanks much for coming down tonight, my friend.
My pleasure.
Keep using that camera.
I will.
Torrey Hunter gave the Twins another reminder today of what they let get away, hitting that 300th career home run. And look at this. Dave McCoy caught up with him afterwards, champagne and all. That story is.
You got 2 bottles.
Look at that, man. We miss you, Torrey. Come on back. Yes, Mr. Personality, Torrey with 2 eyes hit his 300th career home run against the Twins today, and our David McCoy caught up with him right after today's game.
And a high fly to deep left field.
It was a moment, a whole career in the making.
With his 300th Major League home run.
But the last month for Torrey Hunter has felt nearly as long waiting for it.
I'm telling you, for a month, I mean, I had that 300 all in my head. And I kind of suffered for my average for it because I was swinging for the fence a little bit. But now, you know, I'm back to where I need to be.
What about today? Did you go up there trying to hit it today? Or
Yeah, I was. It was 2 balls, no strikes. You think I wasn't? It was a ball, too, inside. I was straight hacking. When you can hit 300 home runs in the major leagues, I just wanted 1. And I got 300, so I can tell my grandkids, top that, Torrey Jr.
And the pitch to Hunter. Swing a long drive to left. There it goes.
And tough to top doing it here in Minnesota, where Torrey spent so many years and hit so many of those 300. He said that made it extra special, and only in all of the good ways.
When I first left, you know, the first year or 2, I wanted to prove and show them that, you know, that I could play the game, and I still can play the game. They thought I was going to get older under a contract, so there was a lot of things went on. But, you know, now I come to play, man. It's a lot of love here. I'm more mature. You know, I come to play and just come to win. And but at the same time, I love the fans. I love the organization. I still go visit everybody. And so this is home for me.
Torrey's no longer the young kid he was when he debuted for the the Twins back in 1997. It's now 17 seasons later, and he doesn't know how many more of them he's got left in him, which makes playing for a contender this year that much more significant.
To win your division or get to the playoffs, or, you know, 2 wild cards, you got a chance. And so just to get there and get that chance and get on to the World Series, it's going to be special for me, man. And this is my ultimate goal, you know, and we'll see what happens.
But for now, he'll celebrate this one with his signature smile, a bottle of bubbly, and the ball he hit, sent over from an old friend.
Somebody got the ball. No, Gardy sent me a ball over there, said 300 home runs, stop killing us. I know he didn't want me to do it against those guys, but I'm pretty sure he's happy for me.
I'm sure he is. That smile and personality has never changed. Torrey will celebrate his 38th birthday next month. He's hitting .292, 3 home runs, 27 RBIs this season for the first place Tigers. And we'll be right back. And happy Father's Day to all our fellow dads out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week following the news. Good night, everyone.